Hey, welcome to this video. Thanks for joining me. Now, in this video, I'll be talking about the Boeing company. Now, Boeing has been struggling recently due to the issues, the pandemic, and obviously the 737 MAX that has been grounded for a while. Now, I actually just made a video about that. So if you're interested in that video, you can check it out above. And in that video, I actually described exactly what the problem is and how long it could take for them to actually get back to fly the 737. But right now, I want to talk about the stocks itself. So I'll be reviewing the stocks. Right now, the stock is at about 100 billion market capitalization and the stock price sits around $177. Obviously, all these numbers could change before the end of the day. What should we be looking out for and what is actually the problem? If you're new on my channel, it took a bit longer for me to make this video because generally I release 2 videos a week and my videos are generally planned out, and that's why this video is just getting released now. So if you are new on my channel and you're interested in subjects like this, or if you're interested in subjects such as saving money, investing money, how we can make use of our money in creating passive income, then you should check out my channel. And if you find value in it, please consider subscribing to the channel. So let's get to the video. So before we go on, I would like to touch on some of the updates that were released in their quarterly reports of last quarter. Now, one of the first things that I mentioned is the impact of the C word, which we all know that this has really affected all industries, and a lot of layoffs occurred. And in fact, Boeing also laid off some of their workers, and some workers had to take an early retirement as well so that they can save some money. And in fact, this is costing Boeing tons of money. I believe they've laid off about 10,000 workers. And so far, according to them, 6,000 people have been laid off or taken early retirement. And the other thing is that they also had to shut down some of their plants because of this pandemic. And this obviously reflected in their numbers as well, which made the loss even larger. The other thing also is the impact on air travel. We all know that the airlines started canceling flights, and they've also started canceling their orders of the 737s, but not just the 737s, the other models of the airplanes as well, because the air travel industry has really been affected and they do not have the money to hold on and buy most of these airplanes at the moment. In fact, most of these airlines are still looking for ways to lay off their own staffs. And Boeing had to also take a huge loss from the 737 issues due to the fact that they had to ground these airplanes. And so they had to make some unusual expenses in their reports due to some of this, which I'll be talking about that shortly. The other thing is the 737 MAX. If you're interested in that video that I said I made that talks about exactly what is going on and what the changes we should be expecting to see on the 737 MAX, the video is going to be linked above. So if you're interested in that, you can check it out. But I won't be touching much on that because I already went over it in that video. But the point is, Boeing is just optimistic, believing that the FAA would be able to wrap things up pretty soon, and hopefully the 737 can resume flights. The other thing on the good side is the fact that during the quarter, they were able to secure about $7 billion worth of orders for the military sector of the Boeing company, in this case, the Boeing defense and space sector. And that's a good thing. And the other thing also is that they're working with the United States Air Force on the development of an aircraft engine model, I believe, which is the F-15s, is the fighter jet. And that's a good thing for them as well, because that is also keeping them on a steady ground, because, well, the military will keep running, the military will keep flying, they will keep needing services, whether there's a recession or not. And that's a good thing. Obviously, they also got some contract extension from NASA to support the International Space Station. And that is something that is good for them as well. And according to Boeing, they're saying that the weekly traffic growth has been about 20%. However, this is up until July, 4th of July, but right now this growth has actually become more steady. It's not really increasing anymore because of the fact that there's been increase in number of cases, and airlines are beginning to cancel flights again. People are beginning to cancel most of their trips because everyone is scared. So now let's move on to the details of the financial report. And here's the balance sheet of the Boeing company. The stock right now is about 178.70 cents. And looking at the balance sheet, let's start with the assets section and the cash and equivalents. One thing that you will notice is that Boeing has steadily increased their cash and equivalent amounts up to about 19, almost $20 billion at this point. And short-term investment has increased a lot as well. Now, one of the things that I will say is, these numbers does not really show exactly what is happening, and it can be a bit deceiving, but let's move on. Total assets right now sits at around $162 billion. One of the things that I want us to pay attention to is the inventory. Now, inventory has steadily increased, and that is not really a good thing. Now, one of the things that I would show you is this. If I go to, let's look at the numbers just to make sure we have a good memory of those numbers. So we have inventory to be about 73, 76, 80, 83. If I go back to the annual numbers here for the inventory, okay, total inventory, you can see what the inventory used to be for the 753, 61, 62, 76. You can see that even though it increased over time, it was quite steady, all right? But between 2018 and the ending of 2019, between 2018 towards the end of 2019 and up till now, the total inventory has gone up drastically, between 73, almost $10 billion. And that is all because of the fact that a lot of orders are not being taken, a lot of orders are being reduced, and that is one of the reasons why this is increasing. As we all know, inventories are generally one of the things that companies want to manage. You don't want to have too much of it. You don't want to have not enough of it. So if it's increasing this way and we know that the aviation industry is slowing down, then this is not a good sign, because that means the company will be holding on too much debt. But let's move on. Liabilities, all right? Down here we have accounts payable showing about 13.7. And then if we come down to total debt, all right, as you can see here, that has steadily increased, and it shot up almost double between the quarter one and quarter two. And you can see it's about $61 billion at this point. There's no reason behind this other than the fact that 737s and the aviation industry just on a beating by this pandemic. Total liabilities, as you can see, 136, 142, 152, and 174. That's not really a good thing. But let's move on. I'm not going to waste too much time on this. Let's go to the income statement. You can see total revenue has been on a decrease from 19, 20, 16, and 11. This is the worst quarter of Boeing in recent times. Operating income, we can see that's also negative. There's not much to really explain to it. But one of the things that has contributed to their losses is this unusual expense. Now, one of the things that they've accounted for in this area are things like the fact that they had to lay off some people and they had to pay people off to go on early retirement. But let's go to income after tax. As you can see, huge loss there. And let's go to total net income. Is a huge loss as well. So let's move on to the cash flow. As you can see here, we have a net income, pretty wide margin right there, and that's about $3 billion loss there. And if you come down to total cash from operations, you can see that number has steadily become like larger, and that's a huge part that is not really good for the company. On one other note, you notice that Boeing also paid off quite a large amount of debt, despite the fact that they didn't really make much money. Total debt reduction is about 8 billion. Yeah, but one thing I'd just like to go over is this stock price itself. As you can see, as at last year, this was around September last year, the price was around about $382, and right now it sits at around $179.
And that's it, guys. I hope you found value in this video, and I hope that you've gained something from this video. So if you have, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't subscribed yet. The other thing is, I like to make videos like this because it applies to my area of expertise, if I would call it that way, because I fly in a regional airline, and obviously the Boeing company and all these other stocks that relates to airlines are things that I'm always looking into and trying to get more information about. So I try to focus on some of that occasionally in my videos. Also, I make 2 videos every week. I'll see you in my next video.